Hello and welcome to Vidya Mandir Trust. I am Pankaj Kumar. This is the first lecture on trigonometric function. So second round is going on. Okay, in the previous two lectures we have discussed angles and their measurement. We have discussed about radian measure and degree measure. But today we are going to start trigonometric ratios and functions. Terms related to it will be discussed in the very first lecture. Okay, so let's go to start the things. Okay, so today we are going to discuss trigonometric functions of an angle. Thereafter we will discuss angles exceeding 360 degree. Thereafter we will discuss sine of angles, quadrant of angles, coterminal angles, reference angles, trigonometric functions of any angle, and thereafter we will see the behavior of trigonometric function. We will just introduce the behavior of trigonometric function, but before that we are going to introduce you that how trigonometric functions or how trigonometric ratios are going to be defined in a practical way. All right, so let's go to a start. So first of all, trigonometric ratios. So how can we discuss about what is the idea behind the trigonometric ratios? So for that, I would like to put a point over here. Okay, so say this point is A over here. Call it an initial point. All right, call it as initial point. Now think in this direction. At this point, at this point T1 there is a tree. All right, at this point T1 there is a vertical tree over here. Again, at the point T2 there is another tree whose length is greater than this, the tree at T1. Again, let's say the third tree is over here whose length is greater than the previous two trees. Okay, and the last is at the point B. Okay, but this final point of each tree makes same angle with this initial point. All right, so call it B, C, D, E. All right, so we can see that this angle, let's say it as alpha, then we can say angle BAT1 is equals to angle CAT2 is equals to angle DAT3 is equals to angle EA, okay, EAB. Call it as alpha. Okay, so this angle is what? Alpha. And this is your initial point. This line is called initial line. Means this line AT1, T2, T3, TB. Okay, so this line AB is called initial line. This point is initial point. This side is called terminal side. Now we can now think we have to find the length of T1B, means this was a tree 1. Okay, so if you have to find the length of this tree 1, you have to find the length of this second tree, you have to find length of this third tree, you have to find the length of this fourth tree. All right, then you can easily get it. Okay, we can see one thing over here that we have triangles, triangle AT1B. Okay, this is similar to triangle AT2C, and again this is similar to triangle AT3D. Okay, and this is similar to triangle ABE. triangle ABE. So all these triangles are what? Similar triangles. So now we can discuss about ratios, okay, in each triangle, and certainly we are going to get many interesting things over here. So in this triangle we can see different ratios. Okay, how can we see this? Because the triangles are similar, therefore AT1 upon BT1, the ratio of this and this will be equals to the ratio of AT2 upon CT2, AT2 upon CT2, and again this will be equals to AT3 upon DT3. Okay, and AB, what can we say? AB upon BE. Is this clear? So call it lambda 1. So this is one kind of ratio. Okay, so we can say what? AT1 upon BT1. So this is the ratio between the adjacent side. This side is called adjacent side. Okay, and this BT1, CT2, DT3, ETB means EB, all are called opposite sides. Therefore this is the ratio between the adjacent side and opposite side. Okay, we can reverse it, means we can take EB by AB, BT1 by AT1, CT2 by AT2, DT3 by AT3, and it will become 1 by lambda 1. So two kind of ratio is already over here. I am not writing, but yes, you can imagine. And again we can write, we can take another ratios like BT1 upon AB is equals to, we can write CT2 upon AC, we can write DT3, we can write DT3 upon AD, and we can write BE upon AE. Okay, and call it lambda 2. So this is another kind of ratio. Okay, all these will be equal. Why? Because the triangles are similar. So this is another kind of ratio, and all these ratios are again equal. And if we will take it reverse, then what will happen? AB upon BT1, AC upon CT2, AD upon DT3, AE upon BE, and 1 upon lambda 2. So again, so two ratios from here, two ratios from here. So 4 ratios has been discussed. Now again we can discuss one more kind of ratio, and what is that? Like AT1 upon AT1 upon AB. AT1 upon AB can be discussed. Again AT2 upon AC, AT2 upon AC will be equals to each other, and again AT3 upon AD, and this will be equals to AB upon BE. Alright, call it lambda 3. Okay, I am going to introduce you with the trigonometric ratios. So in these right angle triangles, these similar right angle triangles, you can see the ratios. Again, we have AT1 by AB, AT2 by AC, AT3 by AD, AB by BE. And what can we do? We can just reverse it. We can find AB by AT1, AC by AT2, AD by AT3, BE by AB, and then it will become 1 by lambda 3. So two ratios from here, two ratios from here, and two ratios from here. So there are 6 ratios in this right angle triangle. And now we are going to introduce these 6 ratios in terms of trigonometric ratios. Okay, and with the help of, because you can see this angle alpha is independent of the size of the triangle. This angle alpha is independent of the size of the triangle. Therefore, you can find the length of any size of tree. For example, if we have to find this BT1, then if you know the angle alpha and if you know this distance, then certainly by using trigonometrical ratios, you can find the value of this BT1. Similarly, we can find the length of another tree, CT2. We can find the length of another tree, DT3, BE. Okay, and tree at any place. Okay, without reaching to the tree, we can find their lengths. Okay, by using this system, this trigonometric system, we can do the things easily. So now we have seen 6 ratios. Okay, we have seen 6 ratios, trigonometric ratios over here will be introduced in the next slide. Okay, so what are those? Okay, so now we can see what? Think if this is your right angle triangle, call it as A, B and C. Okay, so now we can say this side AB as base. Okay, and this as perpendicular P, and this as hypotenuse H. All right, then if this angle is theta, then we can easily find the ratio. We can easily name the ratios. So first of all, let's call sine theta. So this is the ratio between the opposite side of the angle. What? Opposite side upon this hypotenuse. Okay, so it will become P by H. All right, so this is your first trigonometric ratios. I have discussed in the trigonometry, I have discussed in the previous slide that 6 ratios were there. So now we are going to name those. The second is what? Cos theta. Okay, so cos theta will become what? Base upon hypotenuse. So this is called what? B by H. All right, the third is tan theta. So tan theta is what? Perpendicular upon base. And now the reciprocals of it. Okay, so now we have sine theta P by H. Then we will discuss cosec theta. As cosec theta as how? H by P. Okay, cosec theta will become what? H by P. Means it is just the reciprocal. Means cosec theta is just 1 by sine theta. All right. And fifth is what? Sec theta. So sec theta will be the reciprocal of cos theta. It will become H by B. And the sixth is what? Cot theta. So cot theta will become what? B by P. Okay, so there are these 6 trigonometric ratios. Okay, whose name is this? This sine theta is the ratio between the perpendicular and hypotenuse. This cos theta is the ratio between the base and hypotenuse. Tan theta between perpendicular and base. This is perpendicular and base. Cosec theta is the reciprocal of sine theta, means hypotenuse upon perpendicular. Okay, sec theta is what? Hypotenuse upon base. And cot theta is what? Base upon perpendicular. So there are 6 trigonometric ratios. Okay, so these are the 6 trigonometric ratios over here, and we can easily say some interesting facts related to it, that in the previous slide we can see what? We can see this sine theta is what? P by H, and as this is a right angle triangle, therefore we can see what? Sine squared theta plus cos squared theta is what? Certainly we can see P a square by H square plus B a square by H square. So it will become what? P a square plus b a square by h square, and p a square plus b a square. So p a square plus b a square is what? H square by Pythagoras theorem. So h square by h square is equals to 1. So we have what? We have seen what? Sin square theta plus cos square theta is what? 1. So we have this identity, sin square theta plus cos square theta is equals to 1. We will derive this in another way also, okay? But in fundamental way, you know, sec square theta minus tan square theta will become what? 1. And I will discuss it again in detail, okay? And cosec square theta minus cot square theta is equals to 1. So these are the very fundamental things. All right. So now let's have a question over here, and thereafter I will discuss something interesting. So in this question we can see if the two angles of a triangle are 30 degree and 45 degree and the included side is root 3 plus 1. What does this means? Think if this is your point A and let's draw the included side, means this BC, whose length is what? Root 3 plus 1. So this is the included side, okay, whose length is what? Root 3 plus 1. And this angle is 30 degree, say, and this angle is 45 degree. Then you have to find the area of this triangle. So to find the area of this triangle, we have the base BC, which is root 3 plus 1. So if we will be able to find this height AD, call it D. So if we will find this AD, call it H, AD is equals to H. If we will find this, then we can easily find the area of the triangle 1 by 2 into base into height. All right. So now we have to find this height H, and remember this is our point. So let's say it D. Okay, this is our point D. All right. So now how can we find the area of this triangle? To find the area of this triangle we need H. So in right angle triangle ADB, what will be? Tan 30 degree will be equals to what? B by P, means AD by BD, means H by BD. All right. So this tan 30 degree is what? Certainly I hope you know the value of tan 30 degree, which is 1 by root 3. Okay. And this tan 30 degree will be equals to what? H upon BD. So our BD will become what? H root 3. Okay. Now in triangle ADC, what can we say? Tan 45 degree. Tan 45 degree is what? AD upon DC. So AD is what? H upon CD. So from here we can say what? Our H is equals to CD, because tan 45 is what? 1. So from here we can say H is equals to CD and H is equals to what? CD, and CD can be written as how? BC minus BD. Our H is what? BC minus BD. So from there what can we write over here? H is equals to BC. BC is what? Root 3 plus 1, and minus BD is what? H root 3. So from here we will get what? H plus H root 3 is equals to root 3 plus 1. So from here H into 1 plus root 3 will be root 3 plus 1. So from here we can say H is equals to root 3 plus 1 by root 3 plus 1. So H will become 1. So as the height of this triangle H is 1 and its base is what? Root 3 plus 1. Therefore area of triangle will become what? 1 by 2 into base into height, root 3 plus 1. So finally area will become what? Root 3 plus 1 by 2. So option B is the correct option. All right. So now we will discuss some more interesting things about angles. Okay. So now angles exceeding 360 degree. What does it means? So angle exceeding 360 degree means what? Think if you have a point O over here and this is A, and now this is the initial point, this is the initial line, this is the initial point. Think this ray OA moves up to B over here. Then this amount of measurement, okay, amount of rotation, amount of rotation is called what? The angle over here. And think if a revolution is going to be completed, then 360 degree angle will be there, and it is also called 2 pi radian. Okay. So in one revolution we have what? 2 pi radian angle, 360 degree angle. If the rotation will continue, then what will happen? For example, if I will write the things like this over here, think this, then how much angle will be there? So you can see that one rotation is going to be complete over here, and thereafter if this acute angle is 30 degree, then this total angle will be what? What will you say? Certainly you will say 360 plus 30 is equals to 390 degree. Okay. So what can we say? If a rotation is going to happen, means in one revolution 360 degree angle is going to be made, but if the number of revolution is 2, then 720 plus, if the number of revolution is 3, then 1080 plus angles will be there. All right. So beta n will be equals to what? 360 degree n plus alpha, where alpha is the angle lies between 360 degree, means 0 to 360 degree. Okay. And this n represents one revolution. Okay. This n represents what? One revolution. For example, if you have the figure like this, and then if this angle, say this angle is 60 degree, then the total angle will become what? You can see up till here 360 degree and plus 360 degree, 720, and again in the third revolution it will be what? 360 into 3 and plus what? 60 degree. So this will be your final beta 3. So that's why beta n is equals to what? 360 degree n plus alpha. So this is what about angles exceeding 360 degree. Okay. Now let's discuss some more interesting. So now we are going to discuss sign of angles. It has been already discussed in our previous lectures. However, let's have once. Okay, so think if the rotation is in anti-clockwise direction, then we used to take the angles positive. But think if the rotation is in clockwise direction, okay, so in clockwise direction, in one complete revolution, minus 360 degree angle is going to be made. So in this way, again we can see what? If this is the angle, and if this angle is 30 degree, but in clockwise sense, then we can say minus 360 minus 720 hota, but second revolution has not completed. So 720 minus 720, and we will subtract what? 720 minus 30 and minus. So now what are quadrantal angle? You know already that there are four quadrants in this two-dimensional coordinate system. So the angle made by the quadrants are called quadrantal angle. For example, think a point A is over here on this x-axis. Then the quadrantal angle is what? 0. If this point reaches at y-axis, then the quadrantal angle will be what? And think, if this point A reaches at this point, then certainly your quadrantal angle will become what? Pi. If the point reaches at this axis, then what will be the quadrantal angle? Certainly 3 pi by 2. This angle will be what? 3 pi by 2. And again we are going to reach over here, so it will become 2 pi. So angles made by the axis, coordinate axis, means these angles are called what? Quadrantal angles. So now quadrantal angles means angle made by the point on any one of the coordinate axis, means the terminal side should be at any of the coordinate axis are called quadrantal angles. For example, think if the terminal point is on x-axis, if the terminal point A is on x-axis, then what angle is going to be made? Certainly 0 degree. So yes, 0 is quadrantal angle. Thereafter, if you are going to reach over here on this y-axis, then the angle will be what? Pi by 2. So this is a quadrantal angle. If you will reach over here, then what angle is going to be made? Remember, always when we say about a standard angle, means angle with the positive direction of x-axis, means this is your initial side and the final side is this. OX is your initial side, OX dash is the final side, terminal side, and the point is lying over this OX dash at this terminal side. So the terminal point lies on this negative x-axis, then certainly this pi will be a quadrantal angle. And when we are coming over here at this y dash, then you can see the total measurement of rotation is what? 3 pi by 2. So again, it is going to become a quadrantal angle. So quadrantal angles are the angle which is made by the terminal side as x-axis or y-axis. Okay, axes are as terminal side. Then we used to say it's a quadrantal angles. Okay, and in the next rotation we are going to reach over here again. So after traveling 2 pi radian, we are again reaching to this x-axis again. So these are called quadrantal angles. But the angle which is in between these quadrants are called what? So let's see. So here theta is in the first quadrant. We can see that this theta is in the first quadrant from 0 to 90. Okay, here theta is in the second quadrant from, we can say, 90 to 180 degree. Okay, so we have discussed in the previous slide that what are quadrantal angles, means angles which lies on the axis, whose terminal side lies on the axis, are called quadrantal angles. But the angle can be there in between. Okay, so if they lies between 0 to 90, then we used to say they are in the first quadrant. If they lies in pi by 2 to pi, then we used to say they are in the second quadrant. When pi to 3 pi by 2, then they are said to be in the third quadrant. When 3 pi by 2 to 2 pi, then they used to say in the fourth quadrant. Okay, so you can see the figure clearly. So this was all about quadrant of angles. Thereafter, coterminal angles. What do you mean by coterminal angles? Means the angle whose terminal side is same. For example, think if this is your side OA, initial side, and we are going to make an angle 30 degree in clockwise direction, anti-clockwise direction, sorry. So this angle AOB, angle AOB is 30 degree in anti-clockwise sense. But one more angle is going to be made. Okay, so now we can see this angle. In clockwise sense, this angle is what? Minus 330 degree. Okay, so in clockwise sense, again we can say what? Again we can say AOB, angle AOB is minus 330 degree clockwise, and this is along anti-clockwise direction. So here we can see what? Here we can see what? That in clockwise and in anti-clockwise sense, the terminal side is same. The terminal side of both the angle is same. Hence OB is the terminal side for this 30 degree angle and this minus 330 degree angle. Okay, so the terminal side is same. Okay, and one observation, call it as alpha, call it as beta, then we are going to get what? Alpha minus beta will become what? 30 degree minus 330 degree will be certainly 360 degree. 30 degree and minus 330 degree, so it will become plus 360 degree. So when we are going to subtract alpha minus beta, then 360 degree, beta minus alpha, then it will become what? Minus 330 minus 30, so it will become minus 360 degree. So it will become beta minus alpha. So we are seeing what? If there are two coterminal angles, then their difference will be always the multiple of 360 degree. Here this is 360 and this is minus 1 into 360 degree. And there might be infinitely many coterminal angles. For example, think this OA is your initial side, and now we have reached at B. Call it 60 degree or any, does not matter. Now let's say this 360, again 360, and then reach over here. So after 2 revolution, again we are going to reach over here. So it will be what? 720 plus 60, so 780 degree. So here we can say this total angle is what? 780 degree. Okay, this bigger angle, call it beta. And our initial angle, when there was no any complete revolution, then our alpha were what? 60 degree. So now if we will discuss about its difference, so alpha minus beta will be what? 60 degree minus 780 degree. So it is what? It is minus 720 degree, and which can be written as minus 2 into 360 degree. So this is an integral multiple. This minus 720 degree is what? An integral multiple of 360 degree. Okay, so you know that there may be infinitely many angles with a single terminal side, and all those angles are called coterminal angles. But whenever we will get the difference of two coterminal angles, actually coterminal angles does not mean equal angles, no, because you can see this is minus 330 degree, this is plus 30 degree. How can be taken, how can we say that both are equal? No, we cannot say. But yes, their terminal side is equal. Okay, so every equal angles are coterminal angles, but coterminal angles are not necessarily equal. Okay, and with one side as a terminal side, we can find infinitely many coterminal angles. Coterminal angles, yes, because we can get as many revolution as we want to do. Okay, that's why. So if you will be asked that whether two angles are coterminal or not, then we will see their difference. All right, for example, so we have seen that if the difference between two angles is 360 degree, then we used to say that they are coterminal angles. So either 360 degree or the multiple of 360 degree, then we will say that the angles are coterminal angles. So first of all, we have the angles. Alpha is equals to 185 degree and beta is equals to 545 degree. So what about alpha minus beta? So it will become 185 and minus 545 is there. So minus 545 degree. So it will become what? 185 degree plus 545 degree. So what is about its sum? So 10, 0, 7. So we can see what? 730 degree. Is it a multiple of 360? No, it is not a multiple of 360. Okay, so these two are not coterminal angles. So these are not coterminal angles. इसीलिए ये दोनों कोटर्मिनल एंगल नहीं होंगे. Why? Because coterminal angles are the angle whose difference is either 360 or the multiple of 360. That's why these are not coterminal angles. Now, for the second question, our alpha is what? 17 pi by 36 and beta is what? 161 pi by 36. So now alpha minus beta will be what? 17 pi by 36 and minus 161 pi by 36. So it will become what? 17 pi minus 161 pi by 36. Okay. So what will be its difference? It can be seen easily that 11 minus 4, 7. So it will be 4 and 4 minus 144 pi upon 36. So 12 3s are 36, 12 12s are. Okay, so finally we are getting what? Minus 4 pi. And certainly it is a multiple of 360 degree. Okay, it is a multiple of 2 pi. We can write it as minus 2 into 2 pi. So yes, this pair of angles are what? Coterminal angles. Yes, this pair of angles are what? Certainly this pair of angle is what? Coterminal angle. So now we are going to discuss some more kind of angle. Yes, we are going to discuss reference angles. ठीक है sir. So now we are going to discuss reference angles. Okay. So first of all, to define the reference angle, think we have the angle with standard position. The given angle is the angle in the standard position. Okay. So think if we have this angle and let's say it as 120 degree. Okay, let's say this angle as 120 degree and this is in its standard form. What do you mean by angle in standard form? So this is theta is equals to 120 degree in its standard form. So angle in standard form means what? We are fixing our thumb over the origin and then we are seeing the measurement of this x-axis and this is the terminal side. Okay. So now the angle is 120 degree in its standard form. But what are the reference angle? Reference angle are the acute angle. Acute angle with the terminal side acute angle with the terminal side and x-axis. Okay. So now this angle theta, which is certainly what? 60 degree. So this angle theta, which is 60 degree, this is called reference angle. Okay. This theta is equals to 60 degree is what? Reference angle. So let's find some reference angles. Okay. Now here you can see the reference angle in the first quadrant. In the angle is in its standard position. So theta is equals to theta dash. So for example, if I will ask you about this, then certainly in a standard form the angle is 60 degree. And what about the reference angle? So reference angle means what? Angle between acute angle between the x-axis and the terminal side. So certainly this 60 degree is again its reference angle. Okay, this angle is the reference angle itself. But when we reach at the second quadrant, then this is the standard angle. Whenever we used to talk about a standard angle, it means the angle with the positive direction of x-axis. Means you are going to put your thumb over here and you are rotating this x-axis and you have reached over this terminal side and then you have stopped. Then this angle theta is called what? A standard angle. But what are the reference angle? Reference angle are the angle with x-axis and its terminal side, and certainly it should be acute. So here the angle theta dash is what? An acute angle. All right, and again in the third quadrant we have this angle. Okay, so in third quadrant this is the standard angle, but we are interested with reference angle. So in reference angle, what shall we say? This is the terminal side and the angle with the x-axis and terminal side. So only this angle, this much of angle is called the reference angle in the third quadrant. What about in fourth quadrant? In fourth quadrant, think we have the terminal side as this. So this is the standard angle, total angle given. But what about reference angle? The angle between this x-axis and this terminal side is called what? Reference angle. Okay, so reference angle are the acute angle between the terminal side and x-axis. So let's find. So now we have to find the reference angles. Yes, our theta is what? Minus 230 degree. So let's draw its position in the quadrant and then we will decide the thing. Okay, so as the negative thing is over here, so we have to move in clockwise direction. And yes, minus 230 degrees. So this is 180 and some more rotation. And now we can call this position as minus 250 degree, 230 degree. Okay, this is as minus 230 degree. But we are interested in with reference angle. So reference angle means what? Angle between the x-axis, acute angle between the x-axis and the terminal side. So up till here, from A to B, this total angle is what? 180 degree. Okay, and from here to here, we have rotated through 230. So certainly this angle will be what? 50 degree. So the acute angle between x-axis and the terminal side is what? 50 degree. Therefore, our reference angle will be what? 50 degree. All right. So now we are going to discuss about this 31 pi by 9. Okay. So to get its reference angle, divide 31 by 9, then we will get what? Certainly 27. So 4. So this 31 can be written as how? This can be written as 3 into 4 by, okay, 3 into 4 by 9. So we can write it as how? 3 pi plus 4 pi by 9. What does this means? This means we are, certainly this is positive, so we are moving in positive direction. 3 pi. So this is 1 pi, this is 2 pi, this is 3 pi, and then 4 pi by 9. Okay, so this angle is 4 pi by 9, and this is the complete picturization of 3 pi plus 4 pi by 9. So certainly you can see the acute angle between the x-axis and the terminal side is what? 4 pi by 9. Therefore, our reference angle theta dash will be what? 4 pi by 9. Okay. Now, what about 640 degree? If our angle is 640 degree, okay. So we know this 640 degree is what? 2 into 360 minus 80 degree. Is this clear? Means one complete rotation. 2 into 360 and minus 80 degree means one revolution should be complete. And we will try to complete the second rotation, but we have to stop here 80 degree before we have to stop over here. All right. So now this is the angle 640 degree, but we have to stop over here, and the angle between this x-axis and this reference, this terminal side is what? 80 degree. So our reference angle theta dash will be what? 80 degree. All right. So it was all about the reference angle. So after the discussion of trigonometric ratios, we are going to discuss the trigonometric function in an unit circle. Yes, this is a unit circle. You can see a circle with center 0, 0, and its radius is 1. Okay, we have joined this center to this point P, A, comma B. Okay, and its radius is unit. Therefore, certainly we can say what? OP is equals to 1 unit. So now in this right angle triangle OPM, what can we say? In right angle triangle OPM, what shall you say about sin x? Certainly sin x will be what? Equals to opposite side, means PM, means this perpendicular, this PM upon this hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is what? OP. Okay. So what is your PM? Your PM is nothing but B, and your OP is nothing but A. Therefore, we will say what? Sin x is equals to nothing but B. In this triangle, we can also say about cos x. So what is cos x? Cos x is nothing but this base OM upon OP. OM upon OP. So what will be our OM? OM is A and OP is what? 1. So we will say what? Our cos x is equals to A. All right. And now in this right angle triangle OPM, in right angle triangle OPM, in right angle triangle OPM, by Pythagoras theorem, what shall you say? OPA square is equals to OMA square plus MPA square. Is this clear? OPA square is equals to OMA square plus MPA square. What is our OPA square? OP is 1. So 1 ka square is equals to OM. OM is what? A. So it will become A square plus BA square. And from here, what is our A? Our A is what? Cos x, and our B is what? Sin x. So from these two equations, what can we say? We can say what? 1 is equals to cos square x plus sin square x. Is this all right? So this is our identity. This is our first identity. So now if we will divide both sides with cos square x, then what shall happen? Divide both sides by cos square x. Okay, then what shall we say? It will become 1 plus sin square x upon cos square x. It will become tan square x. Okay, cos square x upon cos square x 1, and thereafter sin square x upon cos square x. Tan square x is equals to 1 upon cos square x. So it will become what? 1 plus tan square x is equals to what? Sec square x. So from here we can say what? Sec square x minus tan square x is equals to 1. This is the second identity. These are identity, means this is true for any value of x. Okay, so this is your first identity that should be remembered, and this is your second identity. All right. Again, if you will divide 1 by sin square x, then what shall happen? If you will divide this by sin square x, then it will become what? Cos square x upon sin square x plus sin square x upon sin square x, it will become 1, and 1 upon sin square x, it will become what? Cosec square x. So from here it will be what? Cot square x plus 1 is equals to cosec square x. तो यहाँ से ये क्या हो जाएगा? दिस विल बिकम cosec square x minus cot square x is equals to 1. So this is our third equation, third identity. So these results will be used many times. Okay, so we should remember these three identities: sin square x plus cos square x is equals to 1 for any x. That's why this is not an equation, this is an identity. And sec square x minus tan square x is equals to 1. This is also an identity, true for any x. And cosec square x minus cot square x is equals to 1. Okay, so we should remember these results. All right, so now we observe from here that this is our point 1 comma 0. This is our point what? 1 comma 0, and this is certainly 0 comma 1 and all these things. So if I will ask you about cos 0, so cos 0 will become what? Cos 0. So here we can see what? Our base and hypotenuse coincides. So cos 0 will become what? 1. All right. Now if I will ask you about sin 0, so if we are talking the things on this base, this means perpendicular has become 0, because this is the point 1 comma 0, and we know what? A is equals to, we know what? This is nothing but cos x sin x. So from here it is clear that cos x is equals to 1 and sin x is equals to 0. All right. So sin 0 is equals to 0. Again, when we reach over here, then here this is your a comma b. A is cos x. So here cos x is what? 0. And sin x is what? 1. We can see it easily. At which angle? At pi by 2. X is equals to pi by 2. Because when we will rotate by this angle, then certainly this is pi by 2. So when this OA will rotate by pi by 2, then we will reach over here at OB. And at OB, the coordinate is 0 comma 1. And wherever actually x is A is equals to cos x and B is equals to sin x, these are called the parametric equation. This cos x comma sin x lies everywhere on this unit circle. So when we reach at this point, after rotating by pi by 2, then we are getting what? 0 and 1. This means what? This means cos pi by 2 is 0, but sin pi by 2 is 1. All right, cos pi by 2 is 0, but sin pi by 2 is what? 1. Thereafter, when we reach over here, then we can see our cos x is what? Minus 1. But remember, how much angle has? Okay, so this much of rotation has done. Yes, it's pi. Okay, because A, so we have started our rotation from this, along this initial line OA, and then we have reached up to this C. So OC, total angle is pi. So what shall we say? Cos pi is equals to minus 1, but sin pi, again it will become what? 0. Because AB, if AB is written, then A is equals to cos x and B is equals to sin x. All right. Again, the next observation, when we will discuss about what? So this cos pi is equals to minus 1. Again, when we will reach over here, after rotating this much of angle, yes, 3 pi by 2, 270 degree. So what can we see? Cos 3 pi by 2 is again, cos 3 pi by 2 is what? 0. All right. Cos 3 pi by 2 will be what? 0. And sin 3 pi by 2 will become what? -1. And again, when we will reach over here, this 2 pi, then we can see what? Cos 2 pi is equals to what? Cos 2 pi is equals to what? Again we have 1 over here, and sin 2 pi is what? Again 0 over here. So let's have some observations. What can we observe from here? We can observe the fact that at pi by 2, at 3 pi by 2, we have 0. But if we will continue this rotation along this unit circle, then we can go through infinitely many revolutions. But in each revolution, at this position, we will have 0. At this position, we will have 0 for this cos. Okay, so here is a pattern. We can see what? Cos 2n plus 1 into pi by 2 will be 0 always. And similarly, for sine, what can we say? Sine 0 is 0, sine pi is 0, sine 2 pi is 0, sine 3 pi is 0. And when there will be many revolutions, then certainly we will get many multiple of pi. But in each case, what can we say? Certainly, sine n pi is equals to 0, where for both the case n belongs to integers. For both the case n belongs to integers. Okay, so cos 2n plus 1 into pi by 2 will be 0. Sin n pi will be equals to 0. Is this clear? Now, we should remember some reciprocals with conditions. All right. Okay. For example, so we have seen what? Sin x is equals to 0, then this implies x is equals to n pi, where n belongs to integers. And cos x is equals to 0, this implies x is equals to 2n plus 1 into pi by 2 when n belongs to integers. Okay. So what about tan x is equals to 0? Certainly it will be what? Sin x by cos x is equals to 0. Okay. And this denominator should not be equals to 0, but yes, in each case this sin x should be 0. So we will use this condition that sin x should be equals to 0. So tan x is equals to 0, then again x is equals to n pi, n belongs to z. All right. And what about if we will discuss, and whenever we discuss tan x, then always remember that x is not equals to 2n plus 1 into pi by 2. Okay. When we used to discuss about cosec x, then cosec x is what? 1 upon sin x. But remember this formula with the condition that x is not equals to n pi. Okay, because if this will be n pi, then 1 upon 0 undefined. Okay, sec x is what? 1 upon cos x, the reciprocal of it. We have discussed these things in terms of the ratio also. But in this case, x will not be equals to 2n plus 1 into pi by 2. And similarly for cot x, what shall you say? Cot x is what? 1 upon tan x. So again you will say x is not equals to n pi, because denominator should not be equals to 0. So a thing should be remembered that if you have this unit circle 1 0 0 1 minus 1 0 and 0 minus 1, then if you are thinking about this angle as x, say it as p, and this is q, this is o. All right. So now in the four quadrants, okay, x x dash, y y dash. Okay. So if you want to talk about this sin x, which is certainly perpendicular by hypotenuse, cos x, which is certainly base by hypotenuse, tan x, which is certainly perpendicular by base, and similarly other ratios. Like if we will discuss about cosec x, let me write over here, cosec x, then certainly h by p, and sec x, then certainly h by b, and tan x, then certainly it will be b by p. Okay, so sorry, tan x is already cot x. Cot x is b by p. So these are 6 ratios. But in the first quadrant, what can we see? In the very first quadrant, the angle are from 0 say pi by 2. Okay, and if we will talk about this p, q and o, okay, if we will talk about this angle, then you can see your perpendicular is in the positive direction of y-axis, and your base is in the positive direction of x-axis. So the ratio, and this is certainly, this is hypotenuse, this length is already positive. So this ratio, this p by h, this b by h, this p by b, all will be positive. All the ratio are positive. That's why all trigonometric ratios are positive in the first quadrant. And from the second quadrant, means when your theta lies between pi by 2 to pi, then you can see if your point is over here, okay, and this is the angle, then you can see what? You can see this perpendicular is along the positive y-axis. Therefore, P is positive, perpendicular is positive, and hypotenuse is certainly this distance, so this will not have any problem. So from here we can see what? This sin x is always positive because P is positive, H is positive. So sin x positive hoga. But what about cos x? Now you can see your B is along the negative x-axis. So B will be negative. So cos x will be negative. All the ratios in which B is involved will be negative. Alright. So we can see we have only 2 trigonometric ratios like sin x and cosec x in which B is not involved. Therefore, sin x and cosec x are positive, rest are negative. Rest are negative. Okay, only sin x and cosec x are positive in this. But when we shall discuss in the third quadrant, then you can see, okay, I am taking different angle, just you need to understand. You can see what? You can see your base is negative and your perpendicular is also along the negative direction. Okay. So in tan theta, in tan x, P by B. So if P is negative, B is negative, then finally you will get tan x as positive. So only those ratio will be positive in which P and B lies together. Okay, so in tan x we can see it is the ratio of P and B both are negative, therefore it will be negative. And again cot x, sorry, positive, cot x will be positive also, and cot x are positive. Why? Because tan x is what? P by B. So P is negative, B is negative, P is in the negative direction, B is in the negative direction, therefore negative, negative, positive. So tan x will be positive, cot x will be positive, rest will be negative. Rest will be negative. So in the third quadrant, the angle is from where to where? Pi to 3 pi by 2. And in the fourth quadrant, again, what can we see? We can see our base is positive. Our base is positive, but this perpendicular is negative. P is negative, B is positive. Okay. So again, only those ratio will be positive in which P is not involved, but B is involved. So yes, we can see cos x is equals to b by h. So cos x will be positive. And again, sec x is h by b. So sec x are positive. And all the rest ratios will be what? Negative. Rest ratios will be negative. And you know the reason behind it. Okay. So what have we seen over here? Let me conclude. In the first quadrant, from 0 to pi by 2, all trigonometric ratios are positive. In the second quadrant, only sine and cosec are positive, rest are negative. In the third quadrant, only tan x and cot x are positive, rest will be negative. And in the fourth quadrant, cos x and sec x will be positive and all the rest ratios will be negative. All right? For example, if your sine x is what? Minus 4 by 5 in the third quadrant. Let's say in the third quadrant. Then find all the trigonometric ratios. Okay, if sin x is equals to minus 4 by 5, then we have to find all the trigonometric ratios. So how can we do it? So first of all, you can see your sin x is what? There are two ways. So method 1. Your sin x is what? Minus 4 by 5. So this is your p, this is your h. So what will be your b? Under root h square minus p square. So it will be what? 5 ka square minus 4 ka square. So certainly 9 is equals to 3. Okay. So now what can you say about cos x? Cos x is what? b by h. Okay. So what will be b? b is 3. What is your h? Your h is 5. So b is 3 and h is 5. So b by 3. But in the third quadrant. And in the third quadrant, what we know about cos? Cos is negative. Therefore, we have to put minus sign over here. All right. Again, for tan x, what is your tan x? Your tan x is p by b. So what is your p? What is your b? Your b is certainly 3 and your p is what? 4. Okay. And now when we will talk about its value, then tan x is always positive in the third quadrant. Therefore, yes, 3 by 4 is your answer. Again, for cot x, in the third quadrant, it will be 4 by 3. And similarly, because we know the sign of trigonometric ratios in all the quadrants, therefore, we can say the things easily. All right, another way was what? If your sin x is minus 4 by 5, and you know this formula, sin square x plus cos square x is equals to 1. So from here you can find cos square x is equals to 1 minus sin square x. So certainly cos square x will be equals to 1 minus, again, 16 by 25. The same thing will happen. From here you can find your cos x as directly as plus minus under root 1 minus 25 minus 16 by 25. So it will be what? Plus minus 3 by 5. But as we are discussing the things in the third quadrant, therefore we will take negative sign. Okay. So there are two ways, but you should remember the sign of trigonometric function and then you can do the things easily. So in the next video we will discuss about trigonometric functions. Thank you.